that are literally lurking beneath the surface. Microplastics, tretinoin, and even zombie cells. We'll explore how microplastics are infiltrating our lives in ways we never imagined. Why skincare ingredient tretinoin has some sketchy history, and what the heck are zombie cells doing in our bodies? From questionable substances to our environment, to skincare trends with dubious pasts, this episode will have you questioning everything you thought you knew. As for me, I've been making some shifts in my skincare routine to keep things aligned with where I am at this time. It's all about finding what works best for my skin and embracing the changes that come with it. Plus, I'll be sharing my Christmas wish list for this year. Grab a seat, get comfy, and join me as we unpack some of the shocking truths that might just change the way you think about the world around you. All right, let's start here. When I first started this podcast, Holistic Hive felt like the perfect name. It captured the buzz of wellness, the connection between mind, body, and soul, and even tied in my love for bees. But as this journey unfolded, something became crystal clear. My podcast is less about a serene hive of harmony and more about the raw, real, and sometimes messy world of living a low-toxin, health-focused lifestyle. Let's face it, this isn't just about holistic wellness. It's about embracing what some people, a lot of people, might call crunchy. You know, those earthy granola vibes that come with making your own toothpaste, obsessing over the cleanest skincare, and quietly sneaking low-toxin swaps into your home without a family revolt. So crunchy culture was born. It's a name that better captures a heart of this podcast and my mission to explore the quirks, challenges, and triumphs of striving for a healthier, more natural way of life. And don't worry, it'll still have those snarky humor and practical advice you've come to expect. This change also reflects how I want to connect with you, my fellow crunchies in progress. It's a space to celebrate the small victories, laugh at the inevitable fails, and remind each other that being crunchy doesn't mean being perfect. It means doing what we can, when we can, to live better. So here's a fresh name to the same vibe and even crunchier future. Welcome to the crunchy culture. Let's keep it real, keep it low toxin, and fun. I, Tina Sorensen, dig into the latest wellness buzz from the news and share my unfiltered thoughts and opinions. You can join me every Tuesday for a dose of snarky humor, the latest in wellness trends, my current obsessions, and of course, a recipe or wellness tip to inspire your journey. This episode is brought to you by me, the Wellness Blondie. If you're passionate about natural remedies, holistic wellness, and delicious whole food recipes, head over to the Wellness Blondie blog for inspiring content to nurture your mind, body, and soul. Now let's jump into my current obsession. Lately, I've been hyper-focused on replacing all my toxic clothing with cotton or linen. I have been watching the sales and clearance aisles at stores, checking tags and grabbing what I can, when I can. I even found 3-4 packs of underwear at Aldi's for 98 cents each, so naturally, I grabbed them all. This way, when the first batch gets worn out, I can replace the next batch and so on. I was able to find some decent deals on Amazon and of course added them to my wish list since Christmas is just around the corner. And last but not least, if you are in an extremely tight budget but want to start somewhere, I am not against Shein. Yes, it can be considered fast fashion, but if you are searching for 100% cotton or linen, some can be found at a reasonable price. Diving into today's topic, microplastics, BPA, phthalates, and PFAs. Let's get into the meat of the episode. Recently, I came across an intriguing article from the Washington Post about the widespread presence of microplastics in everyday items like food packaging, cookware, and even milk. What caught my attention was how these substances quietly seep into our lives and potentially our health. Why are they used? These chemicals serve functions like durability, flexibility, and heat resistance. For example, PFAs are valued for making cookware nonstick and food packaging grease-proof. Why are they concerning? Studies show these substances can have significant health implications. Endocrine disruption. Many act as endocrine disrupting chemicals, interfering with hormonal balance, even at low doses. Reproductive health is linked to issues like preterm births, low sperm counts, and uterine fibroids. Developmental concerns, particularly harmful to children whose bodies are still developing. And other health effects like DEHP have been associated with insulin resistance, high blood pressure, and early menopause. Not something I want for me or my kids. What are they? Let's break down these substances so you can understand what they are and why they're a big deal. Microplastics are tiny plastic particles smaller than 5 millimeters formed from the breakdown of larger plastic waste. They're everywhere, in the air, oceans, soil, and even our food and water. Yes, microplastics have been found inside human bodies, and while research is ongoing, it's hard to imagine that having plastics in your bloodstream is harmless. BPA, bisphenol A, this chemical is widely used in plastics and resins to make them durable. You'll often find BPA in food containers, water bottles, and even the lining of canned goods. It's a known endocrine disruptor, meaning it can mimic or interfere with hormones, leading to a cascade of health concerns, especially for reproductive health. PFAs, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These forever chemicals are used to create non-stick, stain-resistant, and waterproof surfaces. They're found in everything from cookware to food wrappers to clothing. PFAs are incredibly persistent in the environment and human bodies. They do not break down easily, hence the nickname. Phthalates, these chemicals are often added to plastics to make them soft and flexible, showing up in toys, cosmetics, and food packaging. They're also a type of endocrine disruptor and have been linked to a wide range of health issues. Where are these items used? Here's a quick breakdown of where these chemicals and materials are commonly found in our daily lives. Water, bottled and tap, soil and air. It's found in seafood like fish and shellfish as they ingest plastics from polluted waters. Plastic containers, water bottles, canned food linings, receipts, thermal paper, baby bottles, clothing, makeup. Not great. You may be looking for plastic water bottles, baby bottles, or similar products and see some advertised as BPA free. But in many cases, it's likely that instead of BPA, the manufacturers could have used one of the many other available bisophenols to serve the same function. And it's very possible that these substitutes could cause the same health effects. PFAs are found in non-stick cookware, Teflon, food packaging like grease-proof wrappers, waterproof clothing, stain-resistant carpets, and fire-fighting foams. Phthalates are plastic food packaging, children's toys, vinyl flooring, personal care products like shampoos, perfumes, and nail polish. These substances are woven into the fabric of modern convenience, but they come with a significant health and environmental trade-off. Why are they concerning though? Now, here's why we should care and why it's alarming that these substances are so widespread. Endocrine disruption. Unlike traditional toxins, these chemicals don't follow the dose makes the poison rule. Even small amounts can mimic or interfere with hormones, creating effects at low doses that might differ from those seen at higher ones. This is especially dangerous for children whose developing bodies are more sensitive. Your reproductive health. Studies have linked phthalates to diminished sperm counts, preterm births, and uterine fibroids. BPA has been associated with infertility issues and hormone-related cancers. Metabolic concerns like DEHP have been tied to insulin resistance, high blood pressure, and early menopause. The cumulative effects from these chemicals don't act in isolation. Constant exposure from multiple sources add up, potentially amplifying your risk. These persistent PFAS, for example, remain in the environment indefinitely, contaminating water supplies and ecosystems. The fact that they've been found in milk and food packaging is deeply troubling. Microplastics in the body are thought of ingesting, inhaling tiny plastic particles is unsettling. While studies are still uncovering their long-term effects, it's hard to justify their presence in our systems at all. Not everyone can afford alternatives like glass containers or toxin-free cookware, and this disparity leaves many people, especially in lower-income households, more vulnerable to these risks. Don't get me started on the regulatory loopholes. Even when products are labeled BPA-free, manufacturers often replace BPA with other bisophenols, which, as said before, are still causing the same issues. Scientists who study the endocrine system say that endocrine disruptors, or EDCs, don't cause harm in the same way that traditional toxins do. With a traditional toxin such as arsenic, the dose makes the poison, and the higher dose tends to have a stronger effect than lower doses. But because our bodies are so sensitive to the effects of hormones, even very low doses of these endocrine disrupting chemicals can have significant effects, and the effects at those low doses are not always the same as higher doses. Because of this, these researchers say it's especially important to be aware of the effects of EDCs on kids, whose bodies are still developing. Does it really make sense to wait for more studies to confirm these risks when the evidence we have already found sounds alarming? And what about the environment on all the future generations? These are questions we need to keep asking. Let's opt out for BPA products, but be cautious because, as I stated before, they carry the same risks. Reduce the use of plastics in food preparation and storage. Let's now dive into practical steps you can take to reduce exposure. Opt for BPA-free products, but be cautious as manufacturers may replace BPA with similar chemicals that carry the same risks. Reduce the use of plastics in food preparation and storage. Stay informed about regulations. For instance, in February, the FDA announced that PFAS will no longer be used to create grease-proof coatings for food packaging, though it may take until June of 2025 before products with those coatings are off the market. And on April 10th, the Environmental Protection Agency announced nationwide limits on certain PFAS in drinking water for the first time ever. These limits are far stricter than the unenforceable actionable levels previously in place, and the agency estimates that 6 to 10% of water utilities will need to take action to remediate PFAS contamination. My take? Do we really need more testing to confirm these substances aren't safe, or should we push for stricter regulations and better alternatives now? It's concerning that many families, especially those on tight budgets, may not have access to safer options. I've been living a low toxin lifestyle for the past 15 years, and it seems like no matter what I do, they just keep creeping up out of nowhere. From the produce in plastic containers, the dish tabs wrapped in plastic, laundry detergent and cleaning supplies in plastic bottles. And don't get me started on the disposable coffee cups lined with plastic. This shit is everywhere. Maybe we all should buy bubbles and live in them. While we're on the subject of questionable substances and their potential risks, it got me thinking about how certain products we use daily are often far from safe. Take skincare, for example. So I was listening to this podcast the other day, and the host casually drops that tretinoin is horrible, and my immediate thought was, what the what? Plus, the guest asked if they knew about all the sketchy history of tretinoin. That's when the ears really perked up. Naturally, I did what anyone would do in that situation. I dove headfirst down the rabbit hole to figure out just what the fuck is going on here. Turns out, the history of tretinoin and its cousins in the retinoid family is a wild one. And spoiler alert, it's not all glowing skin and pretty promises. Let's get into it because trust me, this research was one fascinating and at times disturbing journey. So grab your popcorn because this one's going to take you on a trip. Tretinoin is a form of vitamin A derived from a retinoic acid. While widely celebrated for its effectiveness in treating acne, reducing wrinkles, and promoting skin regeneration, its origins and aspects of its development raise ethical concerns. Historically, significant dermatological and pharmaceutical research relied on unethical human experiments, particularly in the mid-20th century. One infamous example is the use of prisoners at Holmesburg Prison in Philadelphia by Albert Klingman. So, these doctors, fully equipped with a PhD in morally questionable decisions, stroll into a prison with a plan to test anything on the acres of skin that are apparently human beings. And I'm just over here like, this isn't a spa day, guys. This is just wrong. From the 1950s to the 1970s, inmates were subjected to experimental testing, everything from skincare products to pharmaceuticals, often without informed consent. These prisoners, many of whom were marginalized and lacked education, were offered minimal compensation to endure harmful tests, including dermatological applications that left lasting scars, discolorations, and other health impacts. This testing environment was described as exploitative and prioritized profits and scientific advancements over ethics. While Klingman maintained that the testing was consistent with scientific and ethical norms of the era, nearly 300 subjects tested while in prison sued him, the University of Pennsylvania, and Johnson & Johnson. Not surprised to hear Johnson & Johnson is in on this shit. Johnson & Johnson's track record is like that one friend who always shows up late to the party, drinks all the punch, and then somehow breaks something valuable. Is there ever a time they didn't do something sketchy? Baby powder, opioid settlements, skincare experiments, side-eye level off the charts. Oh, the history of retinoids, particularly tretinoin, is like something out of a horror movie. Imagine this, doctors walking into prisons like they're entering a high-end laboratory, ready to test anything and everything on everyone. No informed consent, no regard for human dignity, just an endless parade of experiments. And we're talking about some serious 1950s, 60s level sick fucking shit. LSD, radioactive experiments, infectious diseases, and skincare products, all for research. Even the CIA, because who doesn't want some good old government sanctioned experimental shit thrown in there? They were in on it too. Talk about beauty at any cost, except the cost was human decency. Honestly, it's so grotesque that you'd think it was ripped straight from a bad sci-fi novel. These doctors were basically the skincare equivalent of mad scientists. But instead of glowing skin, they were just creating a whole new level of bad karma. And all these bad pharmacy companies, they weren't even trying to hide their shady game. It's like a secret club, but not the fun kind. More like the one where they test everything and call it science. Want to take a deep dive into some seriously sketchy medical research? Well, buckle up. Because this is like reading a true crime novel, but instead of a detective, you've got government agencies and pharmaceutical companies playing shady games with people's health. Trust me, it's a rabbit hole you won't want to come out of. Follow the link in the show notes, but be warned, once you start, it's like one of those books you can't put down. But in this case, you might want to after learning about the gross mishandling of human dignity and ethics. I mean, who knew skincare could be so dark? Spoiler, it's not just your skincare routine that's toxic. It's the research behind it. So grab your popcorn or, your preferred stress snack and enjoy this tale of unethical science gone wild. You might need a mental shower afterward. You're welcome. So, side eye to everyone involved because no amount of retinol is worth the history behind it. If you are considering the use of tretinoin, know that the current formulations are rigorously tested under ethical guidelines, so they say. But it's also worth weighing its benefits against potential alternatives, depending on your skin's needs and concerns. Now, as someone who has used this for years, not consistently, but only when I absolutely need to, I am not throwing it in the trash, but minimizing my use of it. When I am out, I'm out. What will you be doing? What are your thoughts on it? Share all the deets with me. I would love to know what you think. Comment down below. Shoot me a DM. As I continue to streamline my routines and make intentional choices about what stays and what goes, I'm learning more and more about the long-term effects of the habits we form. Speaking of which, I recently stumbled upon an article on Mind Body Green about zombie cells. Yes, you heard that right, zombie cells. Naturally, I had a million questions. What the heck are they? How do they even come to life or not? After diving into this research, I'm excited to share my findings. So zombie cells, officially called senescent cells, are cells that have decided to take an eternal vacation from life. They've stopped dividing, they've stopped functioning properly, but they've also decided they aren't going to die. They just hang around, accumulate, and cause all sorts of trouble in your body over time. In other words, they're like that one friend who overstays their welcome, but doesn't ever pitch in for pizza. Reminds me of someone I know. Here's what makes these cells extra zombie-esque. Cellular senescence. These cells hit a pause button, so basically they're taking up space in the tissues, contributing to aging, and they aren't even pulling their weight in cell functions. Lazy little fuckers, aren't they? Reminds me of teenagers. Inflammation parte. Zombie cells are not the quiet ones. They release a cocktail of harmful chemicals known as the senescence-associated secretory phenotype. Say that 3 times over. These chemicals fuel chronic inflammation, which is like an all-you-can-eat buffet for diseases like osteoarthritis, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer. Cheers to that! The bigger the buildup, the worse the effect. Over time, these cells build up, spreading throughout organs like skin, muscles, and the brain. The more they accumulate, the more they mess with the body's ability to heal itself, regenerate, and stay in tip-top shape. Now, for the good news. Researchers aren't just throwing up their hands and saying, well, I guess aging is aging, and it's inevitable. They are testing senolytics, Yeah, senolytics. Senolytics. They are testing senolytics drugs that aim to eliminate these cells, potentially reversing some aspects of aging. They're even seeing improvements in health and lifespan in mice. I'm just over here wanting to know that miracle for humans is coming too. And if you want to get geeky about the science, check out journals like Nature Aging or the National Institute on Aging. They've got more details on these sticky little cells. So are zombie cells wreaking havoc on our bodies? Oh, absolutely. From chronic inflammation to contributing to cancer and even impairing regeneration. These cells are major troublemakers, but here's the twist. Like I said, researchers are suggesting ways to fight back, and there are even more natural methods to help reduce those nasty effects. Excuse me. Here's what might help. Intermittent fasting. Fasting activates autophagy, a process that clears out damaged cells, including the zombie cells. It's like cleaning out your closet, but for your insides. Studies even suggest fasting may reduce zombie cells in mice. Exercise. Move your body. Clear those cells. Regular aerobic exercise helps boost your immune system and encourages your body to clear out the zombie invasion. A little sweat could keep you from getting creepy later. Polyphenols, fruits like berries, grapes, and turmeric contain antioxidants that help fight inflammation, basically making life harder for the zombie cells. Think of it like putting up an anti-zombie force field. NAD boosters help your body repair cells and fight aging. As we age, our NAD levels dip. Thanks a lot, aging. Supplements like NR could help give your cells the juice they need to kick those zombies to the curb. Pineapple and bromelain. Ever thought that pineapple could be your anti-aging secret? Well, bromelain in pineapple might help break down proteins related to senescence. Talk about a sweet way to fight back. Medicinal mushrooms. Mushrooms like reishi and shiitake contain compounds that promote immune health and fight inflammation. Plus, they're like nature's little warriors against aging. Antioxidant-rich foods. Eat the rainbow, people. Citrus fruits, leafy greens, and bell peppers are packed with antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress and can help reduce the zombie cell buildup. So go ahead, pile your plate high with veggies. Senolytic compounds. Some natural compounds like quercetin, apples, onions, citrus fruits, and fisetin, found in strawberries, apples, and grapes, are being studied for their ability to target and clear out senescent cells. Yes, your apples might actually be doing more for you than keeping the doctor away. In conclusion, while there isn't a magic bullet yet for eliminating zombie cells, lifestyle changes like intermittent fasting, regular exercise, a nutrient-dense diet, and certain supplements could be your best weapon. Keep your eye on emerging research. It might not be long before we have more natural ways to kick these cells to the curb. But for now, don't panic. You can still fight back and live your best non-zombified life. Let me know your thoughts on zombie cells. Are you in for the fight, or do you want to just chill with your new undead friends? As for me, I'll be trying these natural remedies to remove any potential buildup I may have. Let's face it, staying in the loop on wellness trends is basically a full-time job these days. But hey, someone's got to do it. If you've got opinions, stumbled on anything eye-roll worthy, or just want to dish about the latest health craze, I'm all ears. Drop a comment, tag me on socials, slide into my DMs, or shoot me an email. And now, for the creme de la creme of the episode. If you'd like to be featured on the podcast, send me your favorite recipes or wellness tips, and I'll be happy to share them on an upcoming episode along with a shout out. This week, I want to chat about my Christmas wish list. No, I'm not asking you to buy me anything, but hey, if you're feeling generous, I won't stop you. Instead, I thought it would be fun to share the things I'm eyeing as I continue my journey toward a low toxin lifestyle. So here's what's on my list: a pour over coffee dripper, stand, and filters, because starting the day toxin free and stylish is a vibe. Linen bed sheets for that dreamy, natural, and breathable sleep setup. Several trucker hats. Yes, I have a hat addiction and I'm owning it. 2 herbal apothecary books. I'm obsessed with learning more about natural remedies and DIY wellness. A sauna blanket towel insert to elevate my sauna sessions. A cotton yoga mat because ditching synthetic materials feels so much better. Now, it's your turn. What's on your wish list this Christmas? I hope you give these ideas a try, or at least feel inspired to create your own toxin-free wish list. If you do, let me know what you're loving, or if you make any fun swaps. Don't forget to tag me on socials so I can see what you're up to. Let's share the gift of wellness together. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me. Hopefully, you found something useful, or maybe even had a few aha moments along with the way. Hey, if you're loving this podcast, or even just mildly entertained, why not drop a quick rating and review on your favorite platform? It would mean the world to me and also help more wellness lovers find us, which is basically like spreading good vibes, but with less toxins and more real talk. Your feedback helps others find their way to the hive and join this wellness journey. Thanks in advance for making me feel like a podcast rock star. Don't forget to follow me on social media for more updates, tips, and behind the scenes content. You can find all the links to my profiles along with more information and resources over on my website. And if you're looking for more even exclusive content or just want to support the show, be sure to check out my Patreon page. Stay vibrant and let's continue to build our crunchy culture hive together. Until next time, take care of your mind, body, and soul, because your journey is uniquely yours. Remember, wellness is full of twists and turns, so lean into the adventure. We've got this. Quick heads up, there won't be an episode next week as we pause to savor the holiday season. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Feliz Navidad, and joy in every celebration. See you soon.